Okay, I heard folks are interested in how to lay out an octagon pattern. Have an octagon window. There are a few ways to make sure that the opening is the proper dimensions. And yeah, if you're going to make a stained glass window, you're concerned about the sides are all the same as far as the width of the octagon, the height, and then the 45s. These are 45s. Uh, it is important. There are a number of ways. The first thing you do when you measure an octagon, measure the everything. You do everything in full sizes so you don't get confused. You want the full tight size from opening edge to opening. Don't deduct for lead or spaces. It just gets confusing. Alright, so what you want to do, you first measure a window, right, from the full size here, on the left to the right. And here we've made it 18 inches. This is very typical size. They come 18, 24. They've been other sizes too, or custom made. Uh, if you've installed octagon windows in a frame that are pre-hung, you can pretty much guarantee that all these measurements are going to be consistent. These are typically the windows you see in a frame that the window tilts out and in, out from the bottom, and lock inward. Again, they're gonna be perfect. They're gonna be square. So, but in the case something's not perfectly square, I'm gonna show you how to check. All right. So again, measure the width. Opening to opening. So you got 18. Measure the height. Opening to opening, and that's 18. And then go from your 45s. Verify that these are all 18. This one, and from here to here. If they're off a little bit, say 1/8 of an inch or less, you're okay. But they should be all the same length, 18 by 18. Now, the hard part, this is where a little bit of drafting comes in. If you did any drafting in high school, I did 3 years of architectural drafting, isometric, dimetric, all the above. I also did a lot of artwork that involved precise measurements for stained glass. There are many times when you have to rely on doing precise measurements on paper. Basically, an octagon is a square, as shown in this green dots, dashed lines. It's a square over a square. You have one square straight up, 90 degrees, 180, and then you have your square. It's the same size square. Just remember, the distances here are the same. So what you want to do is draw out a square on a square. Alright? That would give you your octagon. However, sometimes that's not possible. So what you want to do, the easy workaround, sometimes you say, alright, I know the length of this point to that point. So, to avoid all that, draw a square. This is a real simple way of doing it. Right? You have these are your they call them vortex central points. So if this is 18, this would be to 9 in the middle of the square. Same thing with the horizontal line, which would be 9 from the top to the bottom. You want to draw crosshairs, right? And what that'll do, it'll get you your central connection point. I guess it would be the vortex in this case, because we're using angles outward. Draw your square, get your center, and then what you want to do is from the center measure out a 45-degree angle from here and go out 9 inches. You got from here to here is half the square, so measure from here to center out 9 inches. So you can draw your 45 and continue. Actually, you want to continue past the square, just so you can get this measurement, and I will explain. So you got your 45, you measure out to 9, you put a little dot there. Then, and this is really easy to do if you have a large set of dividers. You could do it with a ruler, measure out this and that. I did this to 1/3 scale, so if you look at the size of this, you got 6 by 6 is the square. And this line here, it measures actually to 4 1/4, which is 12 3/4. But that's not what you want. You don't want that measurement. You want to draw your line from the center out to the point of your square, or beyond it, so you can measure. What you want to measure is this blue line. This blue line, due to geometry and I guess diametric drawing or drafting, this distance from here, from 9 inches out to the corner of the second square, will be exactly the measurement of half of a side of an octagon. Alright, let me repeat. This blue is the same thing here. I copied and pasted here. So what that is, when you put it on your square from your central line and measure out from the top of the square from your center line, and in this case, again, it's I'm going to go 1/3 scale, so it's 1 1/4. That would be 3 3/4 inches if you're doing an 18-inch octagon. So you measure from here, and again with dividers, if you took dividers and put it on a point here, put it on a point here, you just repeat it here. That will give you your perfect half of a 1/8 side of an octagon. So on this square, you can go from the vortex, the center line, and measure out that distance. This will also repeat the same. It'll be the distance here. Okay? You get that measurement from going past the parameters of the second square to the point of the first square. We're going to call it square one. It's perfectly straight up and down, 90, 180, and this second square is on 45-degree angles. So again, you want to draw the two squares, if you want. I mean, if you really don't have to. I was showing you from the center, excuse me, and measuring outward 9 inches, which is half that square, in this direction on a 45-degree angle, Again, you want the measurement difference from 9 to the point, right, which is this right here. Again, it's in 1/3 scale, it's 1 1/4 inches. That would be 3 3/4 on an 18-inch octagon. It'll give you your leg here. Alright? So you could take this now and repeat it on this side. So you got 3 3/4 and measure out the same thing. 3 3/4 on the top, coming out from the center. You know, this center vortex line. Right? That's going to give you your perfect leg. So if we got 3 3/4 and 3 3/4, that equals roughly 7, well, not roughly, exactly 7.5 inches. So every leg, or actually side of your octagon, will be 7.5 inches. Again, that's how you get it. You get it from the half of the square width or height. It's the same thing here. Measure it out on a 45 and deduct from 9 out. This is going to be 9. 9 9 is 18. 9 out, you deduct the distance from this point of the square to 9. And that's, you know, whatever this measurement here is from, I'll actually give it to you. It's 4 1/4 times 3 is 12 and 3/4. It should be 12 3/4. From center to point. We go here, that'll be 25.5. Point to point. Well, we're looking at an 18-inch octagon. This is the best way to get your true measurements. And when you connect everything, you got your 7.5 here. You repeat it here. From this line to here, you could take 7.5, measuring up from here to here on that square. Take one of these legs. No, copy it. Bring it down here. I'm going to go ahead and give that a 90-degree angle. Okay. So if you have from center point here on the square, on the original square, and up from the side here, this point right here, if you connect that with this point right here, will be exactly 7.5. If it's not, you did something wrong. But if you have this measurement here from 9, deduct the difference to the corner of that square. So if you look at this triangle, this is a equilateral. You know, actually it's a isosceles. It's got a hypotenuse. So these sides are going to be exact. All right? That's going to give you your measurements here, because what this is as well, if you connected this, that would be another isosceles triangle. So the legs are going to be the same size because we're working with an octagon. In geometry, you know, they teach you what octagons are, how to get the 22-degree angle, you know, and you know, how to draw an octagon. But I'm telling you the cheap and easy way, not cheap, the easy way of getting these leg or side measurements using a square and the measurement, the diagonal. It's like a radius, you know, it's a radius of the square. If it was a circle, it would be half the distance of the circle, you know, the diameter. Alright, so I guess this would be the diameter from here to here. If you're speaking of a circle, and again, this measurement is what you want. From the top of the square to center, it's going to be the same as this. Forget all about what's going on down here. You want to get that measurement, which is 9. Repeat it on a 45-degree angle and mark it at 9, and then deduct the difference. That'll be your leg. Once you start laying this all out on paper, it's going to start making a lot of sense, and it's going to give you a perfect octagon. The other way to do a perfect octagon, I mean, with modern computers, you go to shape, it's going to draw me a pentagon, right? 6, 7, 8 sides. Problem is this point and point, if you wanted to angle this right, you hit it on the 20, whoop. Let's do that again. There we go. 22, which will give you your octagon laying flat, you know, as you would see it in an installation. Go no fill, give it a border. We don't want that. That's good. Border. I was using that last. Just say like that. That's your octagon. All right. With software, it's going to give you the measurements of the points, the far points. So if you want to get a true measurement, say 18 by 18, the only way to do that is to, you know, copy it. I copied it as an image. Delete. You're going to delete that. I'm going to paste it. This is how I got this octagon. And you go image. Okay, image. Move the background. Done. Now it's going to show me this octagon. I'm going to hit the arrangement tool. It's at 2.9, but it's very close. Let's go 2.3. So if you want to constrain it now, you bring it to whatever size you want. Alright, and that's good for if you wanted to draw something on a computer, getting sizes. You got to copy and paste the octagon as an image. Alright, I mean, there may be software that will draw an octagon standing up, but typically whenever they size images, it's to the point here. Alright, I hope this helped. Octagons are not that hard to do. I mean, they're intimidating. And again, when you have your pattern, your drawing for your 18-inch octagon, you know, this is one scale. I don't have that large of a viewing area, but once you have it laid out, you want to now take a copy of that. You know, make a copy of it, bring it to the job site, put it in place and check it. That's your template. Avoid doing it the other way around, you know, making a rubbing, because then if you're a little off, or you're not quite on the mark, you know, you're gonna be messed up. So here, 18 by 18, take off 1/8 of an inch in the height and the, you know, and the width and this, so it would be 17 7/8 by 17 7/8. That'll allow you to install it correctly, giving you a 1/4 inch in both the length and the height, the width and the height. That's the proper amount of spacing you need. with the trim, half-inch trim. And if you want, there's probably wood stops already up there. Measure from the point to point, just to verify your measurements. All right. Like I was saying, make a template. You want to make it, waste your time. I wouldn't even bother. If I went to a job site, I measured all these sides. They're correct. The width, the height, everything matches up good, as well as the 45s. They will match up if all of these sides are the same size. Excuse me. And then make your window. Be sure, always, whenever you make a stained glass window, use half-inch H-lead. I described it in an earlier video. You want to go half-inch. This way it'll allow you, to trim the sides. And if you have any fitting issues, you could always trim it off. If you do it out of zinc or something, you put yourself in a lot of trouble. Alright, so that's how you get your octagon. Remember, square, divide it, get your 45, measure the half of the square in the 45, then get this measurement. This is your crucial measurement. That'll give you half of your side width, lengths. Right? And again, using a nice set of dividers. I have a couple of pairs. Stadler is the brand, and it's got a thumb adjustment. It's quick sizing. You squeeze it and they pound. They're really good to have. You're gonna do any artwork that requires intense measuring. Like lamps, or in this case an octagon. Or if you want to draw a circle, you could actually tape a pencil to it and just draw a big circle. I do that. I have a large one that'll draw easily a 4-foot circle. So get a pair of dividers. Go through the easy steps, and this is what you want. You want the half of the square. Remember, octagon is a square on a square. Half of the square going up the 45. Measure 9 and take the difference between the 9 and the point of the square, and that right there is going to give you half of your side. Just double it. If you have dividers, go to the center line, walk it out, and the dividers are pointy. You can actually poke the paper where it walks out to. Right? This square, I'm just showing you the square in the back, that it's a square and a square. So honestly, you really don't need that. You just need this. Alright? I hope that helped. If you are successful, let me know. If you have any questions about drafting, this is pretty straightforward, but it's a really good way of getting true measurements of an octagon, including accurate measurements of the sides of your octagon. And again, you want to make a template. Have at it. Entertain yourself. Cut a template of this. Trace it through. Bring it to the job site. But I'll tell you right now, if your measurements from here to here, here to here, 18 are accurate, and then again from here to here are all 18, you shouldn't have any problem at all. If this is a little longer and then this side becomes shorter, well, you're in trouble. Typically, you're not going to find that. Even builders know. They're going to cut a 22-degree angle, frame for a window. They're not idiots. They're builders for a reason. How do you cut an octagon? Well, it's got to have a 22-degree angle. That'll give you your 8 sides. And but anyway, to check, check your legs, check your sides, and the best way is if it's a rough opening with no trim, just put your tape right in the corner, right in the corner, and then bend the tape, put it right in the corner, or measure right over the top. You'll see the seam, and just to verify, all your sides are the same size. But again, if you have the measurements 18 by 18, or if it's 24 by 20, it doesn't matter. If it's 19 3/4, it doesn't matter. All you want to do is get this measurement here from half of your height and width, and then the difference to the point of the square. That'll give you your leg measurement. And all you do is you connect them. You mark the dot on the square here, mark the dot, and run a clear triangle or a straight edge, and just connect them. And then when you're all done, just verify that all these measurements are correct. Alright? I hope this helped. Please comment below. Say, hey, I tried that. It works great. Thanks a lot. Or say, hey, you know what? You're looking into it too much. I'm gonna go risk and just rub a template on the opening and go for it, wing it, and have no way of verifying my sizes are correct. You have the right to do that. But in my world, OCD kicks in. If I have a little bit of extra trim of lead showing below any kind of molding here, because my sizes were slightly off, because you make a template, you cut your template, you build by your template, and you're ever so slightly off, angle of the side, you're going to see it. I want to see it perfect. When this trim is up, typically it's 1/2 inch wood trim, and you have 1/8 inch space between the outer part of your stained glass to that trim, you're going to see an exact 1/8 inch strip of lead on the inside, which not only looks incredibly professional, it helps. You have OCD, you know what I'm talking about. Alright, with that, I'm going to close off. You guys have a nice day, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.